breaks as if from a celestial womb, gushing as much as 40 inches in a few weeks. When the universal longing is finally requited, there is a sense of nationwide relief, bringing with it an almost immediate respite from the terrible heat. Temperatures drop overnight by an astonishing 20 to 30 degrees. On the morning of July 4th, I left Delhi for Uttar Pradesh to report a story on India's feverish toilet building campaign. I was out on the street most of the day when I noticed ink in my journal was smudged with raindrops. "The monsoon has arrived," I noted. The smudged page also contained a fragment of overheard conversation. "We will marry our daughter to you only if you have a foot." It was the first line of an intriguing story I would never write. The next day I went for a morning jog in Delhi's beautiful Lodi Gardens. It was 120 degrees Fahrenheit at 10 a.m. That is really the last thing I remember with certainty. I only learned later that I had made my way from the gardens to New Delhi's golf course colony, several miles away. This is where a malignant brain tumor, as yet undiagnosed, struck me down and left me thrashing on the ground. A good Samaritan, I would be told, had seen me reeling in circles with arms upraised as if dancing or praying, then watched me collapse in an epileptic seizure, which doctors later said had probably been a grand mal seizure, judging from the extensive bruising on my body. He hailed an ambulance, which sounds strange, although in India one hails an ambulance like a taxi, a practice sometimes abused by wealthier citizens to avoid epic traffic jams. The ambulance drivers would not, at first, take me to a hospital unless this Samaritan, Sunny Kumar Kangotra, an aid worker at a private foundation, came with them. They were concerned about being blamed by the police for a thrashed-up foreigner, and they wanted Sunny to take responsibility for me. But doing so meant he would have had to leave behind his motorcycle, one of the two most valuable things he owned. After a lot of haggling, he offered to follow behind the ambulance, but the crew worried he would race off. So Sunny negotiated a compromise. He would give them his second most valuable possession, his smartphone, as a guarantee that he would stay with them until they got to the hospital. Since the phone meant a month's salary to him, he did not give it up lightly. The driver for the New York Times bureau in Delhi, Jagmohan Singh, had already realized something was wrong when I had not returned within the hour I had promised. Jag, as we all called him, has worked for multiple bureau chiefs over the past 20 years, and he remains friends with many of them. He began doggedly ringing the cell phone I had in my pocket until finally someone answered it and told him I was on my way to Moolchand Hospital. We foreign correspondents depend heavily on our local staff members. They are our interpreters to their societies, our protectors, our surrogate families, and they often become great friends as well. But I was new to Delhi, filling in for our bureau chief, Jeffrey Gettleman, while he was on vacation, so the bureau staff barely knew me. Nevertheless, as I heard later, half a dozen of them gathered with Jag around my hospital bed, sending an important message in a country where your place in a Byzantine social hierarchy can be a matter of life or death. It was, in short, a crucial communication, that this is someone to attend to. Now the monsoon was upon us with a vengeance. Reflections of lightning flashed across the walls of the intensive care unit, and sheets of nearly horizontal rain beat a tattoo against the windows, with seemingly no spaces between the raindrops. While I was comatose for a day or two, dozens of people perished from the flooding in Mumbai in early July. My journal picks up again on July 8th, a Monday, with the pages of the preceding weekend blank, as if they had disappeared from my life. I noted the absence with dismay. At that point, I had been moved to a private hospital, and my journal was full of puzzlement about